Welcome back to another Whiteboard Wednesday. I'm going to take you guys through this topic. It's something that is definitely not discussed, and it's an extremely important topic that we need to get into, especially if you're the type of individual who likes to be active and you like to participate in recreational sports, or you like to lift weights, or you're a big runner or biker or marathoner. So we're going to cover what's wrapped up in that in terms of the term RED-S, or relative energy deficiency in sport. So typically this is studied in females, and so if you look to the left here, the red triangle is the three patterns that show up with this in females, and it's characterized by low energy availability, so low intake, and then amenorrhea, loss of menses, and then osteoporosis, loss of bone mineral density. The thing is, this can also happen in men, and so while men will obviously not lose menses, they will see subsequent changes that come along with that. So this becomes a very important piece of the puzzle when we see folks in the clinic who come in and they are struggling with fatigue, or they're struggling with sleep issues, but they're also doing CrossFit 5 days a week, or they're an avid runner and they're putting in 50 or 60 miles a week, and then they're wondering why their mood is awful and they're depressed and they're anxious. And so this can be a big piece of the puzzle if they are the type of the person who is interested in athletics. So when we're thinking about this as a whole, for most folks, you're going to see them right at about 30 calories per kilogram of fat-free mass, or basically muscle mass. So don't worry about calculating this, but the important thing to keep in mind is that you can see folks get into this 10 or 20 calorie per kilogram area, and that's where things really start to become an issue. And so this is going to affect every system within the body, and so you're going to see this show up as in younger athletes, it's going to show up as stunted growth. You're also going to see changes in mood. You're going to see slower heart rates. It's going to slow down your GI tract. The person's going to become constipated. They're going to become more susceptible to infections. Again, loss of menstrual function. They are going to see a drop in bone mineral density, which is somewhat tough to get back over time. And then subsequent changes to both the adrenals and the thyroid, and then even a lowering of their metabolic rate. So the body will slow down how many calories it burns as a protective mechanism. And if you're an athlete, you're going to see this show up as all kinds of things that you don't want. Higher injury risk. You're going to see it takes you much longer to recover from training. Your performance goes down. You lose muscle mass. You're more irritable. You can't concentrate. You have brain fog. Can't maintain coordination. All those things that you need to be successful, especially in sport or in any sort of performance endeavor. And really what you need to think about with this entire discussion, it can be very sciencey and very detailed, but the thing to remember is the body's number one goal, as I mentioned here in green, self-preservation or survival. That's the number one goal of the body. And so along with that, it wants to maintain homeostasis. It wants things to stay the same the whole time. And so when you're removing adequate food and adequate calories, then the body has a tough time maintaining homeostasis, and it perceives it as a threat to its survival. So basically all of these things that are listed above it, digestion, reproduction, growth, movement or activity, energy for activity, brain function, those sort of things, it's going to reduce those as much as physically possible, because the number one goal here is, again, survival. So what are we thinking about in terms of warning signs? How would I know this is happening to me? Is it a concern in my life if I'm somebody who likes to participate in athletics or sports? Well, if you're the type of person who's done any sort of weight-based sport, if you've done gymnastics, or maybe you're into fitness competitions, physique competitions, or you are in a weight-based sport like wrestling, or even something like triathletes, they try to maintain a low body weight. That would be something to keep in mind, especially if you've been participating in that sport for a really, really long time. So if you've been through years of dieting, those people that are just chronically trying to diet and they're trying really, really hard, they're barely eating anything, those are going to be the individuals that are definitely at risk for this, especially when you couple that with really extensive training sessions that last more than 2 hours, or they're training more than 5 times a week. And so when you put all those together, along with no calories, no fuel in the tank, and then this huge output, becomes a really big issue because you're going to see chronic ligament and tendon issues show up. The body can't heal itself, as I mentioned. Stress fractures, mood disturbances. This person's going to feel anxious. They're going to feel depressed. It's going to drastically skew neurotransmitters within the brain. It's going to change how the thyroid functions. So the thyroid won't be as efficient at working, and it's going to slow down that metabolic rate. And then you'll also see changes in the sleep, not only in the quality of sleep and how rested you feel and the total amount of time you feel like you need to sleep, and then also what time you feel like you're getting tired. So it's going to change and skew all of those things in individuals. So again, just a very important topic that people need to be aware of if they are interested in sport or in athletics. Underfueling is a huge, huge problem, and a lot of folks, if they're really type A and driven individuals, then they can fall into this state where the body is underfueled and they're really trying to push output, and so it's a major, major issue. So it's definitely something to be aware of.